Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Woodward Fire press briefing. Today is Friday, September 4th. My name is Mary Rasmussen, and I'm Information Officer with Northern Rockies Team 2. This morning we have just a little bit of technical difficulty behind bringing you this platform, so I want to apologize up front in case our streaming is a little bit blurry or doesn't come across clear. But I want to assure you that this is being recorded and it'll be available for viewing after the briefing is over. This morning we have Brandon Chakowski, Operations Section Chief, who will give you an overview of the fire and the activities. We have John Trapp, our Fire Behavior Analyst. We have Scott Schuster, who is one of our Incident Commanders, and he'll touch a little bit on the transition of teams that'll happen later this weekend. And then we'll end with Fire Chief Jason Weber. So I'll turn it over to Brandon.
Once again, good morning, everybody. Really nice morning here, and it started off early. Sound the coyotes here at ICP, and getting up and looking out and watching and seeing the moon start to go and dip down over the horizon through part of the marine layer. So it's a very nice start of the morning, at least for me here anyway. So kind of just a quick review of where the fire's at in relation to some local landmarks. Starting over here on the west again with Coast Camp Creek, Limitor Road. This Limitor Road swings around here to the north end of the fire, where we call our Division Echo, where we've done some firing here as of late. But Limitor, Point Reyes Station, and of course a couple local areas there in Fox Drive and Silver Hills. We move back down and around. We have Olema, the Visitor Center, Bear Valley. We have the main Bear Valley Trail that heads back down to the coast, and of course Highway 1. Okay. Kind of a little quicker move around the fire today. Things are looking really good. Over here on the west side, our Division Zulu, we still have all this line contained over here on the west side. It's looking very good. The crews and folks that are in there continue to mop up. They have that hose lay down in there, and they're gritting for spots and making sure that we have good containment, that we have no heat next to our line, that as the winds and heat change, and we get a little warmer, a little windier this coming weekend, that there will not be any problems with fire escaping our containment line. So a lot of good work going on there. As we move up, there's a little bit of change here on the map. It's a little bit where our increased acres came from that will be discussed. Did some additional firing up in here by hand, and we also had a helicopter up, just trying to fill in this little this gap here just a little bit more to bring it to our control line. That marine layer sets in pretty hard up here on top in the mornings. Still very wet, so feeling really good with how the fire is sitting in here in relation to our control line, and the fuels being as wet as they are, not being available for consumption. So we kind of moved down and around, looking really good on Limitor, doing a lot of hazard tree mitigation along the road, starting to pick up a little chipping operations where we've pulled some of the lower fuels down. We've had to cut those down to make it a little bit better, less fire activity along the road when we burned it. So we're doing some chipping of that material, getting that dispersed and getting that all cleaned up. The dozer line behind the visitor center is looking really good, has been for a couple days. We continue to still have folks in there and have a good presence to make sure there's no issues or concerns. As we move down this piece here, Bear Valley Trail, looking really good. There's a crew in there. We're doing some work there along the road as far as removal of some debris, some additional chipping in there as well, and patrol mop up there with the engine crews, etc. So we still have a night shift out there. We will have night shift for a few more nights, mainly focusing on Limitor Road. Keep an eye on that, and of course Bear Valley and behind the visitor center. But overall, the last 2 nights have been very quiet, so we still have a presence and folks assigned to keep an eye on the communities up in here, our structure folks, and we have a good plan in place if for something were to happen to be able to funnel resources there from our fire and to that individual or individuals depending on the need, and of course working with Marin County Fire if something were to happen, they have additional resources. So, but things are looking really good up here, and at this time we're not anticipating any of those issues and concerns. Thank you for your time.
Hello everyone, John Trapp, Fire Behavior Analyst on the fire. So I spoke last week and just kind of rehash a little bit of what the Fire Behavior Analyst does and where we were and where we are and where we're going. So fire behavior is affected by the three things I mentioned last week. So fuels, weather, and topography. That's what drives fire on the landscape. So coming into August 18th, when the fire started, we were coming into a period where the fuels were very dry because of the weather pattern. The topography obviously does not change, hopefully, in the near term, right? Or we've got some bigger problems. But the topography doesn't change, so that's pretty consistent. And the weather, which is the changing factor here. So if you think about a fire on a landscape that may be a wind-driven fire, for instance, that's on a flat meadow with just grass, right? So that would be, if we had a southwest wind, it's just going to push it to the northeast. It'd be very clear, and if the wind shifted, then it's going to blow in that direction. But then you add some complicating factors when you add the terrain that we have in this area, right? It's very diverse terrain with a lot of nooks and crannies in it, which can affect the way the wind blows and the way that the fire progresses. The other part of that is when you look at slopes, and I'm sure many of you, when you're hiking out there, you've experienced this. You're coming up a south-facing slope, and everything's kind of warm and dry, and the vegetation's a little warmer or dried out, and you pop over the top, and then you're on a slope that's north-facing, right? And then when that happens, then you're all of a sudden it's cooler, it's more in the shade, it's got less solar radiation, and the plants and everything are wetter and moisture. So we have those factors that we've been dealing with. So coming into the fire on the 18th, everything was dry, everything was in an alignment as such that it started the fire to progress. It had a northwest wind at first, which is the predominant wind, right? Kind of pushing it down the slope. I was looking at some of the pictures from the initial attack helicopter today, and you could see the smoke column kind of coming up slope and being pushed to the southeast. Then we had that unusual shift to southwest winds, right? And that you can see by the shape of the fire and how the fire progressed, how that wind made a difference there, right? In addition to the absence of the marine layer for almost a week. So over the past week, though, we've had southwest winds, but it's been shifting, as Jeremy mentioned yesterday, to more of the traditional northwest winds, right? So, and we've had a pretty heavy influence from the marine layer. As Brandon mentioned, looking out right now, things have cleared off a lot quicker. And looking at satellite imagery just shortly before I came over here, we can see the marine layer and the stratus layer clearing off rapidly out of the area. And we're moving into a period of increased heat, which you've been hearing about in the news, right? High heat warnings, record heat warnings, lower RH, and all those things would have a big impact on the fire. As Brandon mentioned, we've got really good lines around this fire, and we're taking this opportunity to monitor as we shift from drier and warmer. That gives us the opportunity for those heavier fuels, which would be the large down trees that are on the ground that are dead, that we call them 1,000-hour fuels. That gives them a chance to start picking up activity. They have remained dry throughout the period we've been here, those 1,000-hour fuels that are on the ground. But what's been really changing on an hourly basis even can be those 1-hour fuels, which would be like dead grass, and 10-hour fuels, which would be like small branches, right? So that stuff that's on the ground, that's dead, is very reactive to direct sunlight, wind, and lower RH and higher temperatures. So those are the areas that we watch first to pick up in fire activity. So as we move into this area of drier, warmer weather, this will give us a good opportunity while we have all these resources in place to see what happens with the fire behavior. Most of it, there's going to be heat on the interior of the fire. There's a potential that with this increased winds and warmer temperatures, that some of the fire that's on the ground in the interior could get into the canopy of the trees. And when it does that, it puts out fire embers. I'm sure you've all seen that when you're sitting around a campfire and those little sparks come flying up out of the fire, right? Well, a tree does a lot more of that. Bigger, sometimes entire flaming pine cones. So that's what we watch out for. If it's transitioning from ground fire into the trees and up to the top, that would produce spots that could fly ahead of the fire or ahead of which way the wind is blowing. But for the most part, we're looking good. This weekend will be rough for a lot of the other fires in the area. It's going to be a challenging control situations for them, but we are sitting pretty well here, and we'll continue to monitor the fire behavior and be out on the line. Thanks. Have a good day.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Scott Schuster, one of the members of the Incident Commander Group with the team. Before I talk about transition, I first wanted to say a huge thank you for the tremendous outpouring of support from the community, really unprecedented. I've seen tons of signs. I even saw one yesterday that had a helicopter with like a 3D rotor on it, just things we've really never seen before. I heard about well wishers on the side of the road waving to our firefighters that come home at night. Again, something I've never seen in my career. And of course, all the donations, we really appreciate the offers for those as well. Unfortunately, some of those that we cannot take because of COVID, but appreciate the tremendous outpouring from the community. Like I said, and I've been around for a while, I won't divulge how long that's been, but really never seen a community with that kind of outpouring of support for us. So really appreciate that. So really, I'm here to talk a little bit about the transition and what we call our glide path. As Brandon has been talking to you guys for every day, the progress we've been making on the fire, and we know officially we're at 71% containment, so we're in excellent shape. The crews have finished almost all their line building. They're working on what we call mop-up, so putting out, extinguishing everything that's close to the line. So we feel that we're well prepared for the weather that's coming. That John spoke of, and we're really in excellent shape for that. And actually, that will do some cleanup of additional fuels while we're still here to make it even secure. So for us, the weather may actually help us out a little bit in getting some of those things to consume. So what we've been doing is talking to the team that's going to replace us, and that's Nevada Great Basin team. And they're actually traveling today. We've been in conversation with them for the last couple days. And the way that works is they'll get in tonight. We'll have meetings with them tomorrow and kind of get them up to speed of what's going on the fire, get them oriented to the area. And then they'll have Saturday and Sunday with us. Sunday will be in the field with us, kind of showing them where everything is and where we're going and making sure they're fully comfortable with taking the fire. So that's kind of how that transition works. It's not we up and leave. I have heard that our own Brandon Chakowski has a big fan club. So unfortunately, we will be taking him with us, but there'll be somebody coming in behind to replace. So we'll get all that stuff lined out and taken care of so that Nevada team feels extremely comfortable come Monday. So right now the plan is Monday that they would take over for us. And we'll be here through Sunday. If something were to change unexpected, we can change those plans, but we really don't see that with the great work that's being done out on the ground. So again, a tremendous thank you from us to you guys for all the support. Appreciate that, and have a great day.
Good morning, everybody. Jason Weber, Marin County Fire Chief. Brandon gave you the operational briefing, and what I took from that was there's a lot of good work being done. We've got a lot of solid line. As Scott Schuster, our incident commander, stated, we're getting things buttoned up and ready for this weather event. As I was sitting over there, I did see that a fire weather watch was issued for upper elevations in Marin County. So I think I'll take this opportunity to remind everybody, we don't need any more work. Let's be extra safe going into this hot holiday weekend. Make sure we're fire safe. John, our F-band, talked about some of the stuff that's going to go on. You know, as I've been out in Point Reyes every day, I realize that whole east side of the fire is very visible from downtown and a lot of residents. You're going to see smoke. You may see trees torch. We're out there. We're out there 24/7 until we feel comfortable that we can start to pull back. So I want everybody to understand that. Scott talked a little bit about the team transition. The local fire agencies will be here to support them through that transition. We'll remain with that new team, make sure they have the local knowledge and any resources they need to be successful. Sheriff's Office is working through the evacuation warning and order piece today. Some additional announcements will be forthcoming, and I'm sure you'll look forward to hearing those today. There was a question about, can you identify the National Park Service offices on the map? So if you're looking at the fire here, this is the Bear Valley Visitor Center and where those National Park Service offices are on the fire line. So it's kind of on that east side, northeast side of the fire, right where my hand is. There was a question about outbuildings destroyed. So originally we were reporting an outbuilding destroyed. We've since gone up there, taken a look at that. It was reported as some bathroom structures. Those are all intact. It was actually some picnic tables and other things that were destroyed. So there have been no structural losses on this fire to date. Again, I want to thank the community for the patience. I was in Point Reyes this morning, spoke with some local residents. I know you guys are taking a lot away from these, and I want to thank our information team that's been able to put this together and give us this platform in the mornings to share this information with you. It's the first time I've seen this done on a fire like this, and kudos to them. So we have a lot of good work ahead of us, and you know, I think the air is clearer for most everybody in Marin, and I know we appreciate that also, and I expect with the weather that we're going to get, that will remain that way into the weekend. So be safe this weekend. We've got some hot, dry weather. Stay inside, stay cool, and no new fires. Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. Just wanted to remind everybody out there that unfortunately the seashore does remain closed throughout the Labor Day weekend. And as things progress, hopefully that will change in the future as the fire gets wrapped up. Just wanted to leave you with with today's statistics. The fire is at 4,704 acres. We're at 71% contained. We have 418 personnel, and that includes 11 crews, 22 engines, 4 helicopters, 1 bulldozer, 1 masticator, and 4 water tenders. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you all tomorrow.